About lake life in East Tennessee around the Knoxville area, but you're not exactly sure where you should live or what lake goes with what area, let's go around the map, check it out, and hopefully we can get your questions answered. Okay, let's talk Knox area lakes and where you live. What lake would you use most likely? Okay, so I'm going to touch on just like big highlight spots. So Farragut, for example, if you're living Farragut, you're going to be Fort Loudoun. This is all Fort Loudoun, Tennessee River here. And then Tellico. So this is going to be the Farragut, Lenore City are going to be the most convenient to like Tellico, unless you live in Tellico Village, etc. If you're in Maryville, you are probably also going to be going to the Tennessee River, to Fort Loudoun or Tellico Lake. So that is all of this stuff here. If you are South Knoxville, you're going to be Tennessee River here. You're going to be probably Douglas Lake. So depending on where in South Knoxville you are, how much you want to drive, if you're closer to downtown, then you're going to be looking at using the Tennessee River as your kind of body of water to use. Now, I live in Seymour, so if my husband wants to go fishing, he typically is going down to the river because he likes to ride up one of these is like Holston, so he likes going that way up the river. However, you can go to Douglas. So notice that there's Douglas Dam. All this is connected. But if you are South Knoxville, Seymour, or actually even Maryville, I guess you could go to Douglas. Although I think most Maryville people go to like over here on this side to Vonore, all of this. But that being said, what I do want to point out is, say you want to use Douglas. So Douglas is huge. Notice we have like Sevier County, we have Jefferson, we have whatever Newport is. I don't know the county, I forget. My brain is a little fried. But anyhow, if you were going to live and be convenient to Douglas, you would want to be, notice here's 40. And then this is 66, which is like the main parkway going into Sevierville. Okay, so this is exit 407 right here. If you are wanting to avoid traffic, you are going to be on the 40 side of Douglas Lake, or in this little pocket right here. Maybe a little bit up, but otherwise, once you get along 411 and you get this far in, I mean, all of this is like back roads. It doesn't look like it's far. And all these roads are winding. It's super inconvenient. So to me, if I were gonna live around Douglas Lake like full time, this is Sevierville or Dandridge. That's where my suggestion would be, because you're gonna avoid most of the traffic. The other thing I wanna say is, if you want to be close to Douglas, not on Douglas, but you are over here, like on the other side of 411, if you are in this, you're going to be in traffic because you've got to take 411, you've got to cross over. Traffic in Sevierville is total and complete crap. And you absolutely want to avoid being further in to 66 because this is like all tourists, right? So if you're wanting to live and play near Douglas Lake, then I would be, you could be even over here, because all you have to do is cross 66. But if you're going to have to get on 66 to get to Douglas, in other words, if you're going to be deep Pigeon Forge, deep Sevierville, past 441, you're going to be sitting in 66 traffic. Nobody wants to do that. So I would say do not do that. Douglas Lake is also convenient for White Pine. But if we go northeast, this lake is Cherokee. So if I zoom back out, here's Knox County, Knoxville. And then you've got Strawberry Plains, you've got Jefferson City. Jefferson City is like where Carson Newman College is. So all of this is Cherokee Lake. Cherokee Lake is beautiful. People are diehard Cherokee Lake people. My uncle is in Morristown and he's diehard Cherokee Lake person. I know Douglas Lake better just because we had a camper there. We have friends that live on Douglas, so I know it better. And I also live in Seymour, so it makes more sense that we're going to go to Douglas, right? But if you're Jefferson City to Morristown, anything obviously around, you're going to be going to Cherokee. I do know some friends who they live, for example, in Sequoia Hills. So they live here, and their lake of choice is Cherokee. So you're talking about an hour or more, depending on where exactly on Cherokee you are, right? So if you are north of downtown, North Knoxville, Coreyton, Halls, etc., the lake of choice is often Norris. This is also Powell, Carnes, all that kind of north of 40. To me, the most convenient is either Melton Hill or Norris. And I'll show you Norris. I'll show you Melton Hill in a second. But Norris, again, you have diehard fans of Norris. There are a lot of people I know who, for example, own homes in Ohio, and the shortest and quickest place for them to be is on Norris, somewhere along 75, right? So if you're thinking, oh, I want to get a lake property, and I'm coming from the north moving south, then the smartest, quickest place to be would be as close to 75 as you can be on Norris. And I say that because, again, all of this gets to be like no cell service, no internet. It is windy roads, back in the middle of nowhere, and convenient to nothing. So think about that too. Like, do you need pizza to be delivered?
Pizza time.
Because if that's the case, you're going to want to be closer to the interstate, essentially. Like, you know, I'm making broad sweep statements. So that's Norris. If we move southwest, notice that we get to Clinton and we get here. So this is Melton Hill, and now we are back in Hardin Valley. So Melton Hill, I think of it really as like a residential lake, if that makes sense. I don't think of it as like a place to go and play. However, I know that is grossly wrong. I just associate it more as like there's houses along Melton Hill, even though actually it has like one of the best rowing courses, like literal course to row on. I'm not sure if this is making sense, but that's Melton Hill. This would obviously be Hardin Valley. Again, I think most very good people go to Fort Loudoun. I also want to point out these little pockets. So there's Louisville and Rockford and Friendsville. So all of those are just outside of Knoxville, but on the water. So Louisville, Friendsville, and Rockford's up here, or over here, I would say, by near Alcoa. So those are places to consider. Louisville goes in and out of, essentially it's like Knoxville, Louisville, Knoxville. That's what this is over here. And then Friendsville is out further. Some of that is the middle of nowhere, and some of it's water frontage. So super cool. If we keep moving like southwest, we get to Lenore City, and this is where you see Tellico Lake, Little Tennessee River, just more water frontage here. So again, this is where a lot of Maryville people are going. Here's Friendsville. Either to Friendsville, to Von Orr. I have friends who they own property in Von Orr, which Von Orr also includes parts of Tellico Village. There is Kahiti, which is part of Tellico. So that would be, those are kind of my major like areas of water in terms of like where you're living, what lake or body of water would you use. So if you have questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you soon.